Alrighty, looks like we're live. Make sure we're on mute. Hello, everybody. And we'll just go into the group and make sure that you can all see me here. It's not coming up. Goodness, here we are. Okay. Hello, team. Who's joining me? Into the group and make sure that you can all see me here. Thought I had that on mute. Okay, just let's get going. All right. Good morning or good evening, Margaret. Good to see you. All right. As you jump on, give us a like, give us a love. It'll just tell everybody where to find us. Whoops, it'll show through in the algorithm, show up on people's feeds so they can find us properly. Good to have you joining us. And if you are watching on replay, just chime in and say #afterparty. All right. So welcome to Transform with Plants, the live experience inside Plant-Based Health and Weight Loss Support Group. I am Karen, the Plant Power Coach, and I help people lose weight on a plant-based diet. So if you are vegan or you're plant-based or you want to be and weight loss is your goal, then you're in the right place, all right? I'm not going to talk about the benefits of a plant-based diet, although I can, but because there's plenty of information out there. But what I want to help you with here is your behavior change, with getting consistent with the things that you know to do, with working on your beliefs and your nervous system, all of the things that might be standing in the way between your knowledge and your behavior and your goals. All right. So in this space, we are all about working with things that are natural. I'm not here to give you quick fixes, hacks, potions or powders, or sell you anything apart from my coaching services. All right. I'm not here with any like short-term tactics, lose 30 pounds in 30 days. If that's what you're after, this isn't the right space for you. Okay. I know there are people out there, but I don't believe that that leads to long-term success. I'm about helping you create success, not just lose the weight, but keep it off for good. All right. So that if you're here for that, you're in the right place. Okay. Today's session is all around how to eat for your goals when no one else supports you, i.e. there's no one else in your life living the way you want to live, eating the way you want to eat, whether that's in your family, in your friend group, in your community. So if you've ever caught yourself saying things like, oh, it's hard for me to be plant-based or to be whole food plant-based because no one else in my family eats this way, or everyone else around me wants to eat unhealthy food, so I have to buy it for them. Or my friends don't eat this way and they all give me shit about it. They all tease me and it makes me feel uncomfortable. If there's something like this going on for you and it's driving you to make decisions that don't support your goals and don't support your health, then listen up, because this episode is for you. But I'm going to warn you, I'm going to challenge you, but in the best possible way, right? We all learn and grow when we're challenged, not when we're just given the what to do. I don't just give you the what to do. I rather teach you about what is going on inside your body as to why you can't stay on track and get consistent. And when you know what that might be, then we can start to rewire it. Okay, because the truth is, it doesn't matter what your family eat. It doesn't matter what your kids are snacking on. It's not that you are the only one who's doing this. It's not about the comments that people make or don't make. It's the story that you're telling yourself about how their choices, their desires control yours. It's that there is a part of you that doesn't like to be different to other people, doesn't like to stand out from other people, and certainly feels like it's safe to give in to other people, to make other people happy, and to be the same as other people. Okay. I want to talk about the power of tribe and environment for a moment. Because this is not a journey of willpower or discipline. Yes, discipline comes into it, but we don't achieve our goals just through having willpower. Now, our environment is a huge determiner of our behavior. And so if we think about it, our tribe, the people that we spend the most time with, are a part of our environment. And human beings are wired for connection. Connection with other people equals survival. So think about human beings back in the caveman days. Belonging to a tribe was extremely important because it meant certain survival. It meant you were more likely to survive than if you were out in the wild on your own. You would become prey to all of the predators out there, and you wouldn't last long if you were on your own. So it became very, very important for us to connect in tribes. Excuse me. So even though we don't live in that environment today, our brain is still wired that way. Because if you think about modern society, it really is just a blip in terms of the whole timeline of human evolution. So that wiring to belong and to be part of a tribe and part of a community, it's still very much alive inside of us today. And what happens when you when you want to change, when you want to start eating differently to other people around you, whether it's your family or whether it's your friends or whether it's just your community in general, there's a part of your brain in here called the amygdala. And there's part of everyone's brain in there called the amygdala. And this is our threat detector. And what happens is when you start to change the way you are behaving within the tribe, the threat detector, the amygdala of other people starts to go off and going, she's different, she's different, she's different, she's different, she's different. And then you can spidey sense their discomfort. And then your spidey senses are telling you, I'm going to be kicked out, I'm going to be kicked out, I'm going to be kicked out. So your brain starts to feel that threat of disconnection from your tribe. And it's not because of the broccoli or the beans. It's not because of the food you're eating. It's because your risk of not fitting in and being the same as everybody else. It's hardwired into us. And so this may be why you are sabotaging yourself. You may eat the pizza when you don't want it. Drink the wine when you don't want to. You'd rather not. You'd rather say no. You'd rather say, hey, I'm not drinking wine anymore. You'd rather say, hey, I'm not eating meat and cheese anymore. I'm changing my diet to a plant-based diet. Or you might not want to have dessert anymore, but everybody else is having dessert. It's not because you lack discipline. It's because deep down, your brain is thinking it is safer to be the same as everybody else than stand out and do something different. There's an amazing video from Kerwin Rae. Rest in peace, Kerwin Rae, an amazing man, sadly passed away, I think, last year. And look it up. Look up Kerwin Rae, Kerwinrae, and unicorns. You'll find it on there. And he talks about how our tribe is conditions our behavior so much. He's talking about in a business sense. He's talking about in a business growth sense. And so, but you can apply the same thing to any goal that you're trying to achieve in life. And he talks about a tribe of horses. And, you know, if there's one horse in amongst the pack, the one horse will come up to him and he'll go, don't be a dickhead. The way he says it is so funny. And what that horse is saying is, hey, you're acting differently. You're behaving differently and it scares me. Stop it. And that horse says, no, but I want to be a unicorn. And then all the other horses come up to him and go, no, you're not a fucking unicorn. Don't be a dickhead. And so he said that from that point, this is like you wanting to become plant-based or wanting to be the healthy person. You wanted to be the slim person when everybody else around you is struggling with weight. This is you wanting to be different to everybody else around you. And so what will happen is you've got two choices. He said, most people will choose choice number one, and that is to self-sabotage to the point of dysfunction to fit in with the tribe, to do what everybody else is doing. not to keep everybody else happy, because it feels safest to you. When everybody else is happy with what you're doing, you feel safe. The other choice that you have is to leave that pack, leave that tribe, and go and find a tribe of unicorns, right? And if you find a tribe of unicorns, what's going to happen then? The moment you start behaving like a horse, the unicorns are going to come up to you and go, don't be a dickhead. And so you're going to correct yourself to the new tribe's behavior. And so this is you if you are trying to be plant-based or healthy or lose the weight, being around people who are on the same journey as you is going to be important, because you are going to correct yourself to their standards, to their behavior, instead of flipping back into the behavior that is causing you to stay stuck. Right? So we do have the choice, but if we stay stuck in unhealthy patterns for the sake of fitting in, all it does is it keeps you stuck with the health problems, the weight problems that you have. And you never really get to experience what you could be experiencing. Real belonging is when you can stand out and be who you are meant to be, who you are meant to be, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. And it might make them uncomfortable to start with. And they might get used to you. But at least they will now know the real you, instead of the you that you're pretending to be. Because when you show up with courage, you often inspire other people around you more than you realize. I was really worried about going vegan to start with, because I was worried about what my friends would say, and maybe not my immediate friend group, but certainly people beyond that on the periphery. I don't know why I was giving them so much power over what I chose for myself. It was ridiculous, really, when I think about it. And the skin cancer, when I got the melanoma, it was my kick up the butt to go, it doesn't matter what they think. This is my life. This is my health. This is my body. And I need to choose what's right for me. And on the way, I've noticed how I've influenced other people. I've influenced family members. I've influenced friends as they've all come up against their health challenges, their weight challenges. I've now had several clients who've been family members and friends, ex-colleagues even, and so, ex-colleagues in the corporate world. And so you never know who you might inspire when you step into your truth and start becoming who you're meant to be. And you know what? If those people don't support you, are they really your friends? Are they really your people? I'm just seeing some questions here. I'll get back to this. Larry, anybody that eats animals and contributes to the torture and murder of innocent animals, I would gladly hold the door open. And yeah. So, but I understand just what you're saying. Yeah, this is when people are sabotaging who they want to be, sabotaging their own goals to make other people feel comfortable, which is really not about making other people feel comfortable. It's about making ourselves feel comfortable and safe. Okay, so excuse me. So one, we have those that desire to belong, deep-rooted within the primal parts of our brain. So we've got that going for us as well, on one hand. The next thing that can also influence our behavior is experiences that we might have had in childhood or throughout our life that have left us with some beliefs that we might have about safety as well. And so for when it comes to, if you're living in a family or you're living in an environment where other people don't eat the same way as you, and I'm talking really to like if you are living with family at the moment, if you struggle to speak up and get your needs met in that environment, this can often be why. I often find this with people who have grown up in an environment where it was unsafe to speak up and get their needs met. And so if you're a child and you are putting your hand up and asking your parents to meet a need of yours, and that need is not met or it's shut down, you may learn that you don't ask for your needs to be met. You may learn that it's safer to not say, I need this, please. You may learn that it is actually unsafe, or that just that your needs don't get met when you ask. So you learn to stay quiet, you learn to suppress your voice, and don't learn to ask for what you need because it either was unsafe or you just didn't get your needs met. You always got told no. So you stop asking. And the other side of that is maybe that you might have been praised for pleasing your parents, for doing what they wanted you to do, for going along with what everybody else wanted, even when you didn't want to do that. And I call these, these are not traumas as such in the sense that we know, like I call it big T trauma. That's the big stuff that happens to us. I call these little T traumas. Like these are the little experiences that we have over our life in our childhood that shape our beliefs, our behaviors, the way our brain wires and fires and directs our behavior. So these sorts of things can tell you can start creating beliefs around it's not safe to speak up. It's not safe to have what I want. I can't ask for my needs to be met. I've got one of these. Don't worry. I struggle to ask people for my needs to be met in certain circumstances. It's easier to stay quiet than to rock the boat. And the thing is, these beliefs, they don't just disappear when we grow up. They follow us into adulthood, into kitchen, into the whole of our life until we're aware that they're there. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're there. We just have this uncomfortable feeling about speaking up. We've got all these beliefs around, I should be able to do this myself, or it's not, people don't care about me. People are not going to get, people are not going to honor my needs. Somebody's going to make fun of me if I ask for my needs to be met. Right? We're not even aware that they're there. We just know we've got this uncomfortable feeling when we think about putting our hand up and asking for our needs to be met. So now in your, say, your family environment, if somebody offers you cake and you say no, or you ask for something, hang on, let me think of another example. Say your family want to go to a certain restaurant and you're like, no, but they've got nothing there for me. It's going to be a struggle for you to speak up and go, can we go somewhere else? You're just going to go along with it because you have to feel like it's difficult for me to speak up and get my needs met. You people please, you avoid conflict. You prioritize their comfort over your choices, your needs, your health. And not because you think you're doing a good thing for them, it's because you're trying to protect yourself from the perceived danger that is on the other side of asking for your needs to be met. I had a client who really, really struggled with this. And first of all, she was struggling even just to ask her husband and sons to help her out around the house with things like just, cleaning up after themselves, putting their shoes away, putting their grubby clothes away, putting their stuff in the washing bin or in the washing machine. And certainly around the house and the kitchen, like she struggled to ask that certain foods be kept out of the house because they were an emotional eating trigger for her. She just couldn't do it. And so she felt like she was a bit of a slave in the house, begrudgingly, like doing everything for them, picking up after them, cleaning up after them. She felt like she was just an unpaid housekeeper. And when you feel like that way in your own family, guess what? There's not a lot of love that gets attached with that. There's a lot of, uncomfortable emotions and unhappy emotions that come with that. Being an emotional eater, she was turning to all the foods that she actually really wanted them to get out of the house because they were easy there. She struggled to ask them not to bring them into the house. She struggled to ask them to help her out around the house. And in other environments as well, she would go out for a meal with friends, whether it was lunch or dinner, and she'd been vegetarian before. But now she was not only going vegan, she was going whole food plant-based, or at least trying to be. But she was too scared to tell her friends that she was no longer vegetarian, that she was vegan. She'd given up the dairy. And so her friends would choose locations that had vegetarian options, but not vegan options. And she was too afraid to tell them because she was too afraid of being criticized. She was so afraid that they would mock her for what she was doing. And when she was in these restaurants, she was also way too afraid to ask the waiter if they could do something for her. Being a vegetarian restaurant, they probably could have easily, but she was too afraid to ask them because she was too afraid for anybody to really know what she was doing. And then she would complain that people didn't really know her, right? Because she wasn't being her. And so she was continually sabotaging herself with the food choices that she was making because she was so busy trying to keep other people happy and too scared to ask for her needs to be met. Now, why did this happen? Well, it turns out that as a child growing up, her father was a bit of a bully. And every time she would ask him for a need to be met, he would respond by ridiculing her, oftentimes in front of his friends while they're all sitting around getting drunk. And so she learned that it was unsafe to speak up and ask for her needs to be met. And she also learned how to feed herself because oftentimes there was no one there to feed her. She would get home from school and there was no one there, so she would just go to the cupboard. And yeah, you guessed it, in the house at that time, there was nothing but processed snacks and sugar and fat and salt, all of the unhealthy foods. And so in those moments when she felt unsafe with her dad speaking to her really unkindly and telling her that basically just ridiculing her for asking for something or ridiculing her for anything, what did she do? She went to the food because the food then made her feel happier. She got some serotonin and dopamine from that food. It was her comfort. So not only was her brain learning that it's unsafe to speak up, it's unsafe to get your needs met, it's unsafe to be who you are, to be who you want to be, but also when you feel that way, food is the solution. Unhealthy food is the solution when you feel uncomfortable. So we had a few things we were working on: an emotional eating habit, as well as helping her feel safe to be who she wanted to be and get her needs met. Are you with me so far, team? Let me know if that makes sense to you, or if you have a story of your own. So how do we start changing this? How do we start changing this pattern? Because that's all it is, it's a pattern. And the first thing is, we've got to start taking radical responsibility for ourselves. Radical responsibility says that I am 100% responsible for what goes into my mouth, into my body. No one else. Not my partner, not my family, not my friends, not my parents, not my kids, not my social network, no one else. Nobody else is like tying you down and stuffing food that you don't want to eat into your mouth. And if they are, get out, right? Nobody else is controlling that that hand to mouth, only you. And when you recognize this, like if you are blaming others, you're giving your power away to other people. And when you take back that radical responsibility, you start taking back your power as well. You move from a victim mindset that says, I can't because they won't. I can't because I will be different. And you go to an owner or victor mindset that says, it's okay to be me. I choose to eat in line with my goals, with my values, and what's important to me, no matter what anyone else does. My goals are up to me, no one else. I don't need to be the same as everybody else. I don't need their approval. And that's not always easy, especially if you have this wiring that says, I need to fit in, I need to make other people happy. It might mean, that other people don't understand your choices. They might, I don't know, eye roll, have a few things to say, get annoyed. And if they do, I want you to lean into this. Mel Robbins' Let Them theory. If you haven't read that book, you've got to read it. Like, let them be annoyed. Let them think it's silly. Let them tell you you're going to die of kwashiorkor, even though they don't even know anybody alive personally who's ever suffered from protein deficiency. Right? Let them have their opinions. Let them tell you you're doing the wrong thing. Let them. Their discomfort is not your problem. Your health is worth some temporary awkwardness. They will get over it, and so will you. Like, they will give you shit in the early days. They will feel uncomfortable about it. And guess what? When you keep doing it over and over and over, suddenly what you're doing becomes normal to both you and to them. Your brains all start to rewire and go, oh, no, this is not uncomfortable. This is not different anymore. This is normal. They will get used to it. So sit back and watch their awkwardness, watch their discomfort, and just smile, because you know that their little spidey senses are going off, going danger, 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 danger. And you know that there is no danger. You know that eating differently to them is not a threat at all to the tribe. You're all perfectly safe. You can still connect over all of the other things in your life. Okay? So you've got to take radical responsibility for your own health and let other people have their opinions. It's okay. And to break these patterns, we've got to have this awareness. We've got to be aware of why we keep doing it. What is that discomfort? So next time you might be, I don't know, offered food or asked to cook something that doesn't align with your goals, your values, you are taken to a restaurant, people say we're going to this restaurant and there's nothing on the menu there for you. Next time you are in that situation and you are going to self-sabotage, I want you to ask yourself, am I saying yes to this because I want to do it, because I actually want to do it? Or am I trying to stay safe and be the same as everybody else? Am I just trying to avoid somebody else's uncomfortable reaction? Or am I trying to avoid my own discomfort by being different? And when you catch yourself in that moment, when you're aware of what is driving your behavior, you can make new choices. Every time you make that new choice for you, you're literally starting to break that wiring and firing in your brain, and you're starting to wire and fire new neurons. You are reprogramming your brain, reprogramming those old childhood beliefs, reprogramming that part of you that feels danger about being different or not doing things the same way as everybody else, pleasing everybody else. You're telling yourself, I'm putting my health first. I'm allowed to have different needs. I'm allowed to disappoint other people if that's what it takes to take care of myself. I'm totally safe to do this. And literally by moving through that discomfort, allowing that discomfort to be there and just moving through it, you are showing yourself that it's safe to do this. Nothing bad is going to happen. And suddenly those old beliefs, they start to be shattered and your brain starts to rewire itself. It says, actually, it's okay. I can ask for somebody to make something for me. I can say to my family, no, I'm not going to cook you that. I can say, oh, look, we're getting this food out of the house. You can eat differently to other people and be okay. You can ask for your needs to be met and be okay. You can annoy someone because you're not doing something that they want you to do. All that happens is that you feel uncomfortable about doing it. That's all. That discomfort doesn't mean you're going to die. It's just an uncomfortable emotion, right? Sometimes you're going to face something bigger, though. Sometimes, if you have people in your life who are actively sabotaging you, maybe that's a partner who refuses to let you eat in a way that supports your health. Say, I spoke to someone recently who said her husband organizes where they go out to eat at restaurants, and he does not take into her consideration her needs. She's asked and he will not. And honestly, you might have to face a hard truth that the relationship may not be aligned with the life that you want. It's obviously not a decision to rush into. I'm not suggesting that anybody take anything like this lightly, but it is worth asking. Is this person right for me? Do I want to spend the rest of my life with someone who won't respect my choices, what I want to put in my body and what I don't? Right? It's not a light decision. It's definitely worth considering. The decisions that we make when we're younger are often a lot different to the decisions that we want to make when we're older. And people do change throughout their lives. They don't always grow and evolve at the same pace. And if somebody is forcing you to be the same as them because it makes them feel uncomfortable, then you might have a harder decision to make. When it comes to things like kids in your household, I always say if your kids aren't old enough to make their own food, they're not old enough to make their own nutrition decisions either. And this can be uncomfortable to hear. Because as a parent, I know that I'm not a parent, but I was a child. I was a child and I had difficult decisions enforced on me by my parents. As a parent, it is your job to give your kids the healthiest start possible, even if they resist, even if they throw tantrums. They won't always like it. They might push back, and that's normal. But you got to remember that you are the adult. There's a reason why kids can't vote, can't drive, and not allowed to go to work, right? They're not evolved. Their sensible, logical, decision-making prefrontal cortex is still evolving. And they're operating from very lower reactionary parts of the brain that say sugar, salt, and fat is the best thing for my survival. That's why they want it. It lights up their brains like they're on cocaine. So as a responsible adult, it is your job to not get them hooked onto food like drugs early on in life. You are responsible for their well-being. You've got to make hard decisions for them. Even if they go through that terrible tantrum detox period, it's going to be the best thing for them. And you never know, they may thank you if you do that, I think about when I was about 3 or 4, my parents saw the impact that food coloring and sugar had on my behavior. My mum said I became like a little monster. I don't actually remember it, but yeah, apparently that's what I became like. And she took me to the doctor and said, noticed that she told the doctor about the pattern. The doctor said, it's got nothing to do with food. Here, let's put her on some medication. Thankfully, my mum had some nous and she said, no way, my kid's not going on medication. I know it's the food. And so she took all of the rubbish out of the house. All of the artificial foods left the house. And my very early food memories are of mum telling me about the importance of fiber and eating homemade brown bread, wholemeal bread. All of our cookies and baking and everything was made with things like oats and brown bread, even down to the sugar that we had in the house. Yes, we had sugar in the house, but it was raw sugar. It wasn't like white table sugar. It was like she was even trying to make a healthier choice with the sugar that she chose. So even though we ate meat and dairy, all of the processed foods were out of the house. We weren't even allowed fizzy drink. We barely even had juice. So I am extremely thankful to my mother and my parents for making that decision for me. It meant that me as a child, I grew up with a functioning brain and a healthy body. I grew up one of the smartest kids in my class, and I won sports awards at school, was a top New Zealand badminton player. I was a pianist, I was an artist. It's almost like anything I put my hand to, I excelled at. And you can't do that on a brain that's not functioning because of rubbish food. So to this day, I thank my parents for this, although mum's passed, but I still thank dad. I still thank dad for the fact that they did this for me. I still remember those lessons. So even though as an adult, it might be hard for you to make that decision for your kids now, if your kid's food is driving you off track, if it's leading you to make unhealthy decisions for yourself, even if you make that decision now, it's supporting their health, even if they don't like it. The only reason that you might not be pulling it away from them is because you're avoiding the discomfort of their discomfort. So lean into, that's my role as a parent. And I'm going to make sure that I'm fueling my child's body for success, for health. I'm setting them up for a good future. Okay. I told you there were going to be some hard lessons in here. So let's get on to some practical tips now for being a healthy plant-based person in a world that's not, certainly in a home that's not. So achieving your goals, like I said, is going to require you taking full responsibility for what you put in your mouth and not making it the responsibility of other people. So here are some ways that you can stick to it. In your home environment, make a safe space for your food versus their food, whether that's a space in the fridge or the freezer or the pantry. Move any triggering foods of theirs that you are not getting out of the house because you're avoiding having uncomfortable conversations. If they absolutely refuse, then put it somewhere else. Put it in a place where it's out of sight for you. Out of sight, out of mind. When it's out of sight, your brain won't be craving it so much. You won't be constantly triggered by it. Or you learn to have those uncomfortable conversations with your family members. That is a growth strategy that most people are not willing to move into. Right? But it's going to be powerful for you if you do. If you learn how to have uncomfortable conversations with your family, you'll learn how to have uncomfortable conversations with anybody. And you can just say to them, I'm not buying that crap anymore. I don't want that in the house. It's a trigger for me. And if you guys want to eat it, you can take it elsewhere. Eat it outside the house. But for right now, this is not supporting my goals. And I want to take care of me. Second, if you are worried about having to cook 2 meals per night, as I know many people are, this is what stops many people from, or it's a belief that stops many people from leaning into being plant-based or whole food plant-based. But you don't have to cook 2 meals per night, even if nobody else is going to eat this way. Here is a couple of ideas that you can do. And there's probably many more. If I sat down and thought about it for longer, I could probably come up with 10 ways that you can do this. But one is to build the family. If you're the chief cook in if you're the chief cook in the house, this is, make family meals with your meal as the base. Don't build your meals from the sides. No, because that's like giving yourself scraps. No, build your meal. Build meals from your base. Make your meal the base. Everybody has it. And then you add their other bits and pieces to it. You add their meat and their dairy. This is what I do when I go home and I'm cooking for my family. Dad, my brother, his partner is vegetarian, but my brother, my dad, my nephew, they all eat meat and dairy. You don't need to make a big announcement that this is what's happening either. No, you just cook tasty food and then allow them to add other bits and pieces. Several times I'll make things like pasta or tacos or, oh gosh, stir fries, all sorts of things. I'll make those when I go home. And if they want to add some meat to it, they can. I just let them add the bits and pieces to it that they want to. If I'm doing tacos, for example, or burritos, they will often add some cheese and some sour cream. If I'm doing a pasta, they'll often add their parmesan on the top. I'll just let them do that. But what I'm cooking up is going to be the whole food plant-based base. You just allow them to tailor it to their needs. Another thing you can do is adapt, family favorites into plant-based versions. I love doing this. I love taking recipes that are not plant-based and finding ways that I can make them plant-based and even whole food plant-based. So I'm taking out the oils and the, vegan cheeses and stuff like that if they're in there, and I'm using, I'm finding other ways to get those flavors. And so that has a bit of familiarity for the family, but it's just done in a different way. And again, you don't have to announce it to everybody that you're doing this. Like, just say, we're having something new tonight. What do you reckon? If everybody absolutely refuses to eat that way and you are the chief cook, here's something that you can do. You can batch cook your meals on one night. You can just make a big serving with multiple servings on one night and then make a big batch for them the next night. So one night you're cooking for you, the next night for them, then for you, then for them. You don't all have to eat the same thing. If other people in your family don't want to eat leftovers, well, then they can get in the kitchen and cook too, if they're of age. If they're kids, remember, you're in charge. You're not everybody's slave. I want to remind you that. You're not there to, pander to everybody's needs. You are there to meet their needs, but you're also not a slave. When it comes to things like gatherings outside of your house, where it might be a barbecue or I don't know, any other sort of gathering, family gathering, something like that, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever it might be. If you are, take your own food. You can take your own food. So it's okay to do that. If you're worried about somebody's response to that, you got a couple of things you can do here. One, you can let them get offended, especially if it's not the host. If it's somebody else who's getting, uppity about this, let them. If you're worried about the host, just ask them in advance. Just say, hey, is it okay if I bring my own food? I'm eating a specific way. I don't want you to worry about me. I'll just take care of my own needs. That's okay. Just ask them. Most of the time, if people are decent people, they'll be fine with that. If they're not fine with that, okay, here's another strategy: eat beforehand or don't go. Because remember, it's up to you to get your needs met. If someone is going to really get in a shit with you because you are not eating their food, right? Just remind yourself that you're not getting offended that they're not catering for you. So I'm not going to put that stuff into my body, because if I was to go to somebody's place and they were just going to serve me up a meat casserole, that was the first thing that came to my mind, I'm not going to eat it just to keep them happy. I'm like, sorry, I don't eat that. And when I go to other people's places, I say to them, look, don't worry about catering for me. It's okay. I'll bring my own food. It's totally fine. You don't have to worry about me. I'll even say things like, I'm the fussy one. Don't you worry. I'll take care of myself. So it's totally okay that you do that. Remind yourself that you're not getting offended that they're not catering to your needs. So it's not really fair that they get offended that you won't eat their food. If it comes to eating out with other people, that is, if there is nothing on the menu, ask the wait staff. You will be surprised what a bored chef would be prepared to do for you. I've had this happen to me. I've had it happen to a client just recently. She went somewhere and she asked them if they could do something different for her, and they came up with an amazing dish for her. I've been to a little pub in the middle of like freaking nowhere, and there was nothing on the menu. I was going, oh, don't tell me I'm going to have chips. And the girl saw the look on my face and she goes, dietary needs? I said, yes. Can you do me something that's vegan and vegetables? And she said, they came back and said, we can do you a like an Asian style sweet and sour, or not sweet and sour, an Asian style vegetable noodle stir fry. And I was like, sounds great. It was fantastic. It was amazing. Like, it had so much color when everything else on that menu was fried. It was burgers. It was meat. It was crap. And I saw the look on people's faces as this food came out, and they're all like, where was that on the menu? I didn't see that. So you never know. You never know what you're going to get if you ask. If the venue won't do anything, it's totally okay for you to leave and go somewhere else, right? You don't have to spend your hard-earned money rewarding a business who will not take care of you. It's okay. There are plenty of other businesses out there who will. If you're going with a group of people and you haven't been in charge of the venue, if you know where you're going, it's best to research this in advance. And you know what? It's okay to eat in advance too. If the venue will not take care of you, it's okay to eat before you go. You don't have to sabotage yourself just to keep other people happy. And the last thing is, stop over-explaining. If people are constantly asking you why you're doing what you're doing and having all of their opinions, you don't have to justify yourself. It's no one else's, it's no one else's business what you're doing. Everyone is going to have an opinion, so let them. And just treat everybody's, questions as though they're genuine questions. Right? No need to get offended with the questions. Yes, people will say, where do you get your protein? Where do you get your calcium? They'll come out with all that sort of stuff. It's okay, let them, but just treat it as though they have they're genuinely inquiring. It's okay to answer those questions and say, oh, well, actually, all of our essential amino acids actually come from plants first, and that's where the animals get them. So I feel totally confident that I can get all of my protein needs met on a plant-based diet. Or you can just say, you know what, I feel great eating this way. I feel amazing eating this way, and leave it at that. Or you could just say, I'm just trying out this new thing. I've heard it's supposed to be amazing. I've seen so many other people having amazing results. I've, read all these books. I've seen all these documentaries, and I'm giving it a go myself. You don't actually have to get other people to agree with what you are doing. They don't have to. Right? They can totally disagree. And that's okay. Let them. And finally, let's come back to tribe. Because while it's powerful to stand firm on your own, in your own home, in your own tribe, while it is powerful to be able to learn how to be different and be okay with being different in this world, nothing fuels change and success by surrounding yourself with a like-minded tribe. Go back to the horse who wanted to be a unicorn, right? The horse who the horse who wanted to be a unicorn, if he stays within the horse tribe, he's going to correct himself to dysfunction to fit in with the horses. But he knows deep down he's a fabulous unicorn and he wants to go running with the unicorns. All right. So if he finds his tribe of unicorns, he's going to correct his horse style behavior to fit in with the unicorns. So if your current environment is pulling you backwards, it's important that you seek out a new environment that pulls you forwards. A tribe that normalizes eating healthy, being plant-based, a tribe that helps you celebrate your wins and encourage you to do the thing that you know is right for you instead of hassles you or punishes you or belittles you for doing that. You want a tribe that doesn't sabotage you, one that supports you. And because your environment is one of the biggest influences on your behavior. And when you change your environment, you can also change your life and achieve wildly outrageous things that you never thought were possible. You actually level up. So go and watch that video by Kerwin Rae, Kerwinrae, unicorns. Just put that into a search bar and it will come up and you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you are ready to surround yourself with a tribe that truly supports your goals, I'd love to invite you into my private coaching community, Transform with Plants. Inside, we don't just help you adopt the healthy habits that support weight loss and health. We go deeper. We look at those sabotaging habits and beliefs that we might have developed over the course of our life, the habits that are keeping us stuck. And we bust those habits, we bust those beliefs, and we rewire your mind for success, all within a supportive, like-minded community of people on the same journey as you, because you don't have to do this alone. Alone is hard. Alone is when we fall back into those old patterns. Alone is when we go back to what feels comfortable and safe and non-threatening, and where other people are happy with us. So if you do want to change, if you are ready for change and you want to join a tribe who are going to support your goals and where you can modify your behavior to a healthy behavior to fit in with instead, then I invite you to come and join us inside of Transform with Plants and let our tribe guide you. Okay, so if that's you, either drop a note in the comments just saying I'm ready, or just send me a quick DM, or hit that discovery call link in this video as well. And I will look forward to having a chat with you. I'm here to help you succeed in all ways possible. Okay, I'll just see if there's any comments here. Thanks for sticking with me, team. It's been wonderful. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you again next week.